Champions Cup round 3, and we're going on to pretty much finding out nearly who's going to make the next round, right? So you can see here already down on the bottom right there, you can see the standings as well. So do have a watch while we are going through the results for this round. We started off in a very cold night in Glasgow with Glasgow facing a Racing 92 squad who is not their top squad. They obviously have a lot of fill-ins from the 23 and also from the extended squad. It was a game of two halves for sure. 22-7 to Glasgow at halftime, and the final score being 29-19. It was really only the last 10 minutes where Racing, ran in 2 quick tries. So, the score looked much closer than what it was. I predicted Glasgow to win by about 15. So I'm a little bit off on that one, but as you can see here, in attack, 700 meters to 500, about equal with the carries, clean breaks, double the amount, for Glasgow. I don't know how they didn't score more points. Defenders beaten, 39 missed tackles for Racing and 28 missed tackles for Glasgow. Both the defensive coaches will not be happy with that game. Possession and territory, as we've noticed more and more in this current day's age of rugby, possession and territory don't always equal a win. And that is something that has really changed in the last 10 years. You look back 20 years, every single test match, the team that wins will win at least one of the two, right? At least one of the two, if not both, every single time. So it's interesting how rugby has changed. But yeah, Glasgow 29-19, putting Glasgow in a pretty good spot, already qualified from 3 games, 2 wins, 1 loss, 12 points. With a couple of bonus points as well, with Toulon leading the way in that group. Now, on to the next one. We go to Stormers. I watched this game. I did not expect it. And it didn't really feel like the Stormers are running all over them. Some of these tries are just really, really good tries. Like the Libox try, the chip over the top, he catches it, steps to fullback try. A lot of these tries, as you can see, the first points were only scored after 20 minutes. It was 14 points to 0 for the Stormers at halftime. The Sharks from Sale, obviously, they were throwing a lot at them, but they just weren't kind of making a lot of headway. And then the Stormers just made the most of their opportunities. Just the home crowd, I think, really got them through. 23,000 people at the stadium. It's good to see that there's more and more support coming for this Champions Cup. The more the South African fans buy into it, the more, I'll tell you one thing, us as South Africans, if we watch our team, once you kind of grow a little bit of a rivalry with some teams and realize the prestige of the European Cup, the Champions Cup, then you will see bigger crowds. You will see more involvement. You will see better teams picked for these games instead of just picking your best team for the home game, right? It's sad how it is, but that's how it is, unfortunately. As you can see in attack, nearly double the amount of, about 200 more meters, 494 to Stormers, 298 for Sale, nearly even in carries, more than doubled clean breaks, 24 defenders beaten. So you can see it's not like crazy amount of missed tackles in this game. 13 missed tackles by the Stormers, 24 by Sale. I guess anything over about 15 missed tackles, you're really worried. That's when your defensive coach kind of gets a looking at. 53% possession to the Stormers and 52% territory to Sale. Yeah, a game that definitely did not feel like a 40-0 game, just to be honest. Now, you can see down here, the Stormers are sitting on 5 points, Quinn's on 5, and Sale on 5 as well, with Racing at the bottom there with 4. So it's still, the spots are there for the taking. They really are there for the taking. So we move on to the next game, which was on to Sunday. Sunday morning for us here in Australia. Exeter versus Bordeaux. Now, this is a team that is just flying, eh? Like, Bordeaux is just, honestly, they're leading the top 14. They're smashing Exeter in England, 69-17. A 10,000 people attendance at the game, 31-5 at halftime. I've only watched the highlights of this game. Unfortunately, yet again, with the time differences. And maybe one day, if my channel does get bigger and I end up actually making like a little bit of money that I can actually take time off work, stuff like that, then I will be watching every single game live. I don't care what time it is. I will be living a Northern Hemisphere freaking time clock, right? I'll be doing night shifts with my girlfriend as well. So I don't care. I will be living a night shift once we get to that stage so we can get breakdowns of these games. And that's the thing. Everyone, I guess it's a new year, right? So I got a New Year's resolution. My New Year's resolution is to watch more European rugby. So I want to watch, every game of the Six Nations, even if it is a replay or live. I want to watch not every, but I want to watch more top 14 games. I'm watching already a lot of URC games as is because the South African teams are in there. So that already gives me a great interest there. But that is my New Year's resolution. So if you got any pointers on how to learn even more and quicker, because I find the easiest way is obviously watching the team lists and finding out the players, all that type of stuff. But Six Nations I've never watched more than probably about 3 games in the Six Nations. Usually I would watch the big games like the Ireland-France, England-France, those sorts of games, Scotland versus Ireland as well. These sorts of games I love watching, but this year I'm actually going to watch all of them. I even love watching the smaller games now too, right? There's just so much rugby and I love it. I'm here for it. I think we all are. We love the great game. And it's just going to keep going. But let's get into this game here. So, Bordeaux giving the Chiefs a hiding. Exeter is having a tough year. No points, 113 points difference. They're getting freaking smoked every game. Bordeaux's qualified already 3 from 3, 87 points difference, 23 tries. That is insanity, boy. 11 tries in the game, man. Exeter. Got a lot to work on, my bro. Meters made. Look at that. The meters made is not even that much different compared to some of the other games, right? Very, very open flowing game. Less carries for Bordeaux. Way more meters. Clean breaks, 22. 32 missed tackles for Bordeaux. 32 missed tackles for Exeter and 29 missed tackles for Bordeaux. So that's the only thing that I've noticed about Bordeaux, and I think last year as well, is they can score tries. Like their offense is freaking great. It's just their defense that's the only thing that's lacking, I think, because they play such an expansive game. I think they kind of neglect the fundamentals of the game, right? You can see here again, 62% possession to Exeter, 58% territory. Yet again, very weird. Way more possession, way more territory. Just long field, great tries. Really, really great tries by Bordeaux. So they're always a great watch. If you have watched the games or if you don't watch a lot of the games, definitely get watching those games because I watch their replays. It's great games. Now we move on to the next one. As we can see, the Exeter over there at the bottom. The Sharks, who are the Challenge Cup champions, and versus Toulouse, the Champions Cup champions in Durban. A 24, nearly 25,000 crowd there, which is great to see. A 13-3 halftime score. I watched this game and man, the Sharks they couldn't get out of their half. The Toulouse defense and pressure just constantly. I mean, the Sharks held in. They really did. To only allow 20 points, they were getting, clean breaks against them quite a bit, and they would just defend and somehow pull it out. I mean, 15 clean breaks, right? 23 to 22 missed tackles, so quite a few missed tackles for both. 27 offloads by Toulouse. That was the killer right there. Pretty even in possession, 51 to 49, but territory, look at that. Like I say, they couldn't get out of their half. They really couldn't. Meters made is quite equal as well. Now, I want to watch this game, right? Because I want to see the Sharks when they have their top team, when they have, all the box back, like Etzebeth, etc., etc. Fussy, Esterhazen. It would be a great game. I wish these two can match up again later on in the tournament. I'd be very happy to watch that game. I don't care, yet again, what time of the morning that is. But you can see here, Sharks are just outside there with 1 win and 2 losses with 5 points. Leicester already qualified. Toulouse already qualified. And Bordeaux already qualified as well. So yeah, interesting there to see that. Leinster already qualified there as well in the next one. But we'll get to those results. But yeah, it was a good game, the Sharks, but yet again, they just couldn't get phases and they couldn't get out of their half, really. Yeah, maybe that's to do with Fussy not being able to do the counter attack. He's also got a kicking game. Yeah, a few key players missing there. But Munster versus Saracens, 17 points to 12. Over in Ireland, with a 22,000 people crowd there at Thomond Park. 6-3 halftime score for the Saracens over Munster. If you did watch the game, let me know below. I didn't watch the game. Yet again, only watched the highlights in this one. But as you can see with the stats here, meters very equal. So a very tight game. You can see just by even looking at the stats, right? I mean, equal carries, but very low meterage. So good defense, not many missed tackles. You know, great game probably on the defensive side. Defense coach is happy. Very traditional here, 53% possession to 47 and 52 to 48 to the winning team of Munster. So yeah, just defensive coach will be happy. That's what he wants. That's how you win games. Defense wins championships. We've seen this a lot, but we'll see later on if they can keep this going. Where is Munster here? Which pool they're in here? So you can see. I'm just blind. There we go. So Munster is on 10 points. With that one loss coming against Castres, 10 points there. Northampton's the only one qualified with 11 points. Saracens and Munster sitting equal for second, and Castres with only 1 point between them. And Bulls on the big 0. So that's what Jake White gets for not playing their top team. Absolutely stupid. I think it's, these coaches, I understand, it's a lot of traveling. It's a lot of this, it's a lot of that. Obviously, they're going to work on those things as the tournament progresses with the South African teams. Maybe make it that they have, 2 home games and then 2 away games. And if they play 2 away games, then they have a Europe game, the next one, similar the other way around as well. But yeah, just very dumb to send your B team and you're, to what I think is the most prestigious cup in the world for rugby for club level. Yeah, very dumb. And I think a lot of coaches agree. If you watch the Box Office, it's a podcast as well on YouTube, where Mick Mallet, used to coach Stade France, the Springboks, etc. He finds it very dumb as well that they don't play their top teams, and we can all agree on that. It's very stupid. Now, one of the upsets of the round, Stade France beating Northampton Saints in Paris with a 14, nearly 15,000 crowd at Stade Jouan-Bouin. 45-35, what a high-scoring game. Down 21-19 at halftime and coming back strong in that second half. Would have been quite a chilly night over in Paris as well. But yeah, Northampton Saints just not getting it done. You can see they already qualified here anyway. But yeah, this is one I thought they were going to win. But yeah, obviously the French teams are very, very strong at home, so you can't take that away from them. Meters gained, 170 meters more for the Saints, more carries, about to equal, clean breaks 7-5, 19 missed tackles each. Possession and territory going towards Stade France, and that's what the difference probably was. Being in the right side of the field, making the most of the opportunities. So great win there by Stade France, which still gives them a little bit of hope, to be able to get through to the finals. I'll move to the next game. Leicester versus Ulster. Emphatic win. I didn't think Leicester would probably win by this much, but 38 points to 10 in front of a 16,000 crowd, in Leicester. Great win for them. Yeah. Pollard controlled the game quite well. The forwards done their job. Just all around a good game for Leicester. 505 meters, smoking them. 217 meters only gained for Ulster. Ulster's, I think, fairly taken a step back this year, unfortunately. Injuries, things like that as well. 60 more carries, double the amount of clean breaks, 27 missed tackles for Ulster, 12 for Leicester. Possession, territory, both just shows, an absolute ownage. 12-10 at halftime. So Ulster were really in it, but then went scoreless, 26-0 loss in the second half, which gives Leicester a straight qualification to the finals, sitting in third spot in their group, and Ulster sitting on 0 points still. Ulster and Exeter both sitting on 0. Wow. Which really opens up the door for the Sharkies. Now we got Castres smoking the Bulls, and I'm very happy that happened, because Bulls want to send a B-side team. You're going to get a B-side result. Bravo to Castres. Bulls are not very far away from where I'm from. I'm from Joburg originally. And, obviously Pretoria is not too far away. But, yeah, if you want to send your B team, then that's what you're going to get. And I did pick Castres to only win by about 20. So to see the first half score 10 points to 7, and then just absolute mauling, right? I mean, winning the second half 39-3, allowing 39 points even for a B side team in one half is not a good, Jake White's not going to be happy about that. There's a few coaches in South Africa I think are getting on the hot seat now, they really are. With the teams that they have, they should be doing better, in my opinion. So nearly 200 more meters for Castres. Carries are about equal. Defenders beaten, 24 missed tackles for the Bulls, 16 for Castres. Possession, a little bit more to the Bulls, 51% and 52% possession for Castres. Like I say, the French teams, if you don't really know the European rugby or the top 14, like I said, I don't know too much about it, but from what I have seen and the results that I've looked at quite a bit of history of stuff lately, done research, and the French teams at home, especially Castres, it's not a very big stadium. It's the smallest one in the top 14, but they are loud and their team wins. Their team, I think, beat Toulouse at home as well this year. So they are known to pretty much win every game nearly at home, which is great to see for a team that's got Jack Goodhue, a couple of good players in there. And we move to Toulon versus Quins. A bit of a comeback here by the Quins in the second half, with Toulon 26-0 up at halftime in front of the home crowd. Probably got a little bit, thought the game was maybe over. What's that? 15,000 at the game, 33-21. You can see an attack here. So meters made more by the Quins, about equal carries. Clean breaks are equal, about 12-11. 27-26 missed tackles. So quite a lot of missed tackles we've seen in the Champions Cup. 55% possession and 57% territory for Toulon. And I think, yet again, that's the difference. The kicking game was really good. Open field kicking play. Marcus Smith had a pretty good game in the second half anyway. So yeah, winning the second half 21 points to 7, but losing by 12 points, which is not going to help their case for the finals at all. With Quins just outside, and I mean, it's equal points for the Quins, Stormers, and the Sharks from Sale, all on 5 points, with Glasgow and Toulon already through. Now we move on to the next game, which was a replay of a couple of years ago's final. Well, 2 in a row, wasn't it? With Stade Rochelet versus Leinster in France. It's nearly 17,000 people at the game. I mean, I watched the extended highlights of this game, and man, that crowd was really cool. Really good crowd. Couple of, actually level-headed calls by the ref in this. There was a couple knockdowns, things like that, where the refs just don't go yellow card for no reason, and penalty tries. As you see in international rugby, as soon as there's anyone just even putting a hand out, even if they're trying to catch it, the refs now go just yellow card straight away, freaking penalty try, they go crazy. And I've seen a little bit of level-headedness here by the ref and said, look, it looked like he was going for the catch. It was a knock-on, whatever it might be. There was actually a bit of common sense coming into these refs. And I just wish they can carry that into the international game. But anyway, so nearly 400 meters for the boys in black and yellow, with 323 for Leinster. So very even game, 150 carries for Stud and 104 for Leinster. So Leinster obviously making more meters per carry. 8 to 5 clean breaks. 12 missed tackles by Rochelet, where 33 missed tackles for Leinster. That is a worry. Jacques Nienaber is going to be he's going to be talking to the boys a little bit about the defense. 59% possession and 60% territory. And yeah, when you watch the extended highlights of this, you'd think that the home team should have probably pulled through here, but Leinster's quality and experience just pulled through at the end. Being able to bring on, international players from the bench, their team is just so stacked. It's just insane. And I don't know, we can see if that's a good thing or bad thing. I guess it might be a good thing because these international players, they play together for longer. They learn these little connections, and it carries through, like Porter, etc., carries through into the international game, where maybe if you have too many teams and they're all spread out, then, obviously you got to kind of create those bonds that players have, like the 9 and 10s. You look back in the day, a lot of 9 and 10s were picked because they play for the same squad in international rugby. But let's have a look at the standings for that group there. Leinster is the only team that's already qualified. A couple other ones, Bath, Benetton, Clermont, Bristol. They're all fighting for that, the next spot. So it'll be an interesting couple of weeks coming up for that group, actually. You can see here. So Bristol just taking care of business against Benetton at home in front of 13,000 in the crowd. Not a great game here by Bristol. They're very much a team that's been up and down this season, haven't they? Down 17 points to 14 at halftime. The Bears came through and won it in front of the home crowd. Benetton, more meters made, nearly 500 compared to 387. More carries, way more possession, 57%, 64% possession. Clean breaks, a little bit more for Bristol. Defenders beaten. 34 missed tackles by Benetton, 32 missed tackles by Bristol. That's just too many. That's just too many. At that level, it's just too many. You're not going to win a game. 18 offloads to 8. That's a difference maker right there. And that's what it seemed like. Yet again, watching extended highlights. These are, highlights smashed into about 20, 25 minutes. It's really good. You can watch it online, and it just squashes it down, but it shows you not just the tries, not just the big plays. It actually shows you kind of the lead ups and things like that as well. So Bristol coming through there against Benetton at home, which, you'd think you'd take care of business a little bit easier than that. But anyway, then you got Bath versus Clermont. Bath taking care of business at home. Clermont, I was expecting a little bit of a closer game. I think we all probably were. But yet again, being away from home in the Champions Cup, we've seen that it's tough. It's tough away from home. 40 points to 21, 21-14 at halftime. So in the end, they pulled away with, you can see, not too many meters made in the game. So 378 to 283, 23 missed tackles by Bath with 18 missed by Clermont. Yeah, pretty equal in everything, really. Territory going towards Bath, and then, possession going back to Clermont. So, yeah, the score doesn't really reflect the stats, I guess, but Bath, obviously, just a little bit too clinical. They got the experience. They know what they're doing. I'm pretty sure with... we have a load here for us today. I think that's the only thing with this website. It's just a bit clunky, unfortunately. You can see with Finn Russell obviously running them around, Ollie Lawrence out in the center. That's pretty difference maker right there, I think. Now we move on to that. That's it right there. All right. Let's bring up here all the pools. Make my noggin a little bit smaller. As you can see here, Bordeaux, Toulouse, Leicester are already qualified. Leinster the only one for Pool 2. Saints the only one for Pool 3. Pool 4, Toulon and Glasgow all both qualified. And the games coming up, Ulster is Exeter, pretty much wooden spooners, really. Bulls at home, they need a win against Stade France, and they need a bonus point win. Otherwise, goodbye to the Champions Cup. Saints against Munster, that's going to be a good game. Really, really good game. Both with 2 wins so far, so, the other one can jump the other one. Clermont at home against Bristol. They need a win. Well, they both need a win, really, to be able to make it through. Benetton at home against Stade. Oh, I think that's going to be a sneaky game. That could be a sneaky game of the round, I think. Benetton at home, they can be tough. They do have some good players in that team with Albanoz, etc. Then Leinster at home against Bath. I just don't see a good one there for Bath. Unless Leinster obviously rests players, they're already qualified. The Quins versus Glasgow. Racing 92 versus the Stormers. Stormers need to send their best team. Otherwise, yet again, say goodbye to Champions Cup finals. Bordeaux versus the Sharks. Same thing for the Sharks. It's a must-win game. Every South African team, it's a must-win game. Then you got Saracens versus Castres. That's going to be a great game. Yet again, Saracens at home, look pretty good compared to Castres away. Toulouse, Leicester, what a game. Hopefully Leicester send a good squad. Sale and Toulon. Sale need this win. So we'll see. They might be a little bit hungrier here. So it'll be interesting, to see really who's going to make it. I mean, there's not many teams that actually miss out, to be honest. So it's top 4. Make it through. So, yeah, must-win game for the Sharks. Benetton can jump. Rochelet, if they can beat them there at home. Clermont can sneak in with the points difference. Munster Saracens. Oh, wow, that's going to be a great game. Castres Saracens, sorry. Saints Munster. Oh, man, there's some great games coming up this next round. And then it goes out to the Six Nations. We'll do a bit of a preview once we got the squads. Man, great time to freaking watch rugby, isn't it? But anyway, I'll end it on there anyway. Let me know what you think about the round. What was your game of the round? Yeah, for me, I think it'll probably have to be that Leinster Rochelet game or the Stade France game. High scoring, 45-35. Game of 2 halves as well. So interesting to watch. Let me know your game below. Thank you for watching. Like the video if you do like these sorts of videos as well. Subscribe as well if you do want to see future videos about this. And if you do want to talk about rugby, watch things about rugby, then follow this space and you'll be able to see the future videos. Thank you for watching anyway, and I'll see you on the next one.